a woman's going to find that repulsive as well, right? Equally, you're so shut down and you can't process your emotions, including anger, you're going to end up with a life where you're going to be deeply unhappy. So there has to be a middle ground, right? Then you've got respect. All men want respect, yeah? But respect starts with the self, right? And with self-respect and respecting others, this is where boundaries come in. This is the invisible line between two people. You go to here, you stop, and then that person starts, right? Honesty, integrity, and being direct in your communications. You know, it's very feminine to be indirect in your communications, but you want to put empathy and compassion on your words, right? Because it's the way that people feel. So if you think a lot of women say, I feel like, it's because they're talking from a feelings situation. Now, if you're straightforward with your communications and you're really harsh and you hurt their feelings, of course she's going to say you got small dick energy. You know, if she is based on, do you understand? So there's a level of empathy, compassion, etc. Of course, the key one is responsibility and accountability. This is where you hold yourself highly accountable, but you hold people around you. I don't have anyone around me I don't hold accountable, and they can hold me accountable. It's a two-way street. If you can't be held accountable, you're out the circle. I'm not dealing with people that don't take accountability for themselves, man or woman. Could not care less. Does that make sense? You have to set a time. Humility. You need to have the ability to admit mistakes and the ability to self-reflect. You've got to look at willingness to learn and grow, because if you don't learn and grow, and you know that only a fool knows everything, we don't know everything. So there's much to expand on. Men are logical, right? We're always looking to solve problems. So we go off and find those answers. And so if you've got the willingness to learn, you've got the willingness to grow. Some of this sounds a bit woo-woo, right? We're talking masculine here. I'm not talking about getting back on the council state and let's have a tear up, but you need to be able to do that as well to a certain level. Do you understand? Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Well, I mean, this is where because I hate the term like masculinity, and like to me, it should be like I break it down into controlling your emotions better, for finding a purpose in your life. Like I used to ask this question, what is divine masculinity? And then I started getting to the point it's like, I've got friends who are both male, we've all got the same genitalia, etc. And they could maybe scrap every time we go out and get drunk with some random guy who looked across the bar. And then I could have a guy who's a complete nerd, would hardly throw a punch, still a man. But if you're living to your own values, taking accountability, dealing with your emotions, things like that. Like to me, we need to reframe masculinity and what actually is the key concepts of a man. Like you're saying, accountability, controlling your emotions. It's this kind of like twats like Andrew Tate who come in and say like, oh, you should treat women like this, or you should do this and that. It's if you haven't got somebody or your own vision of your own life, you're going to get controlled by others, be it your relationships, be it like a guru, like a self, and I think this is where a lot of guys go wrong is I want to improve. I'll look at X and I'll try to be like them. But if if that's not the role model for them, or they're the guy's a dick in real life or whatever, and they buy the program expecting to change them, and I think this is the thing